able to watch it as many times as you need. All right, today we are counting down to retirement. My name is Andy Jokers. I'm the communications manager for SDCERA. This is part of our Wednesday webinar series. So we have 3 webinars that I present once a month. This one, as well as our Maximize Your Benefit webinar, which is a deep dive into reciprocity and service credit purchases. And that's the second Wednesday of each month. And then at the end of each month, I invite Nationwide to present during our Tapping into Your Deferred Compensation webinar. So if you're interested in any of those, please sign up on our webinar page at sdcera.org. Now, before I dive in, I do want to do some light Zoom housekeeping. This is a webinar platform, so if you're wondering why you don't see your mics or cameras, that's why you won't have access to those. However, take a moment to identify the Q&A box on your screen, as that is what we will be using to answer any questions that you might have. Please don't ask any questions in the chat, as I really don't look at those. If you want, you can review other attendees' questions in the Q&A before you ask your own. That way you can upvote or comment on any questions that you see there. It is definitely best to ask general questions during this session. And then if you have more specific questions related to your case, I encourage you to contact our member service center after this. They are extremely knowledgeable. They'll be able to help you get any answers you're looking for. And last but not least, again, this webinar is being recorded. So a day or two after we're done here, I'll email you out a copy of the slide deck, as well as the recording and a few other resources that I'll touch on during this webinar. So I am here to make retiring as simple as possible. And I hope to cover a lot of territory in the hour we have together. So I will kick things right off here with a poll. A little welcome poll to warm up. It asks, which SDCERA tier are you in? Are you in tier 1, A, B, C, or D? Or maybe you're not sure. And the reason I ask this is knowing your tier is an important part of your retirement calculation. So if you're not sure what tier you're in, go ahead and go to sdcera.org. If you click on the active members tab, that'll give you a list of the tiers as well as the hire dates. And so your tier is based on when you were hired. Excuse me, I'll give everyone a couple more seconds to answer the poll. And I will go ahead and end it right there and share out the results. It looks like the majority of folks are in tier A, which is no surprise. Tier A and 1 are the ones who have been with the county the longest. So great to have you here. It looks like a few of you are getting closer to retirement. So hopefully you find all the information you need. Retirement really boils down to 3 steps that we'll cover during this presentation. 3, making sure you have enough money to retire. 2, getting all your documents in order. And 1, filling out that retirement application. Now, obviously, a lot of thought and planning goes into each of these elements, especially number 3. So I'm going to show you a video that explains SDCERA's part in your bigger financial plan. And by the end, you should know how to estimate your pension payments. All this information can be found on our website as well. So let's take a look. If you're getting ready to retire, you need to answer one of the most important questions. Will I have enough money to live how I want? We at SDCERA want you to be confident in your retirement planning, so I'm going to explain how to estimate your pension payments. It's all about the 2 E's, eligibility and earnings. When you're eligible to retire depends on your classification and tier. SDCERA has 2 classifications for members. The first is safety, who's someone in a sworn position like a deputy sheriff, probation officer, or district attorney investigator. All other employees fall under the general classification. And your tier is typically based on the date you were hired. Here's a quick look to see what tier you might be in based on when you were hired. Okay, so how does that relate to retirement eligibility? Well, each classification and tier have different requirements for when you can retire. For tiers 1, A, and B, it's based on age, service credit, and eligibility. For tiers C and D, it's based on age and service credit. Just so you know, eligibility is a time between becoming an SDCERA member and today. Service credit is the time worked as an active employee. Here's an example to explain the difference. This is SDCERA. Sarah started working at the county at age 45 in 2010. She worked for 10 years and then quit in 2020 to do something else. Because Sarah worked as an active employee from 2010 to 2020, she has 10 years of service credit. 2 more years have gone by and it's 2022. Sarah now has 12 years of eligibility because that's how much time has passed since she first became an SDCERA member. Here are the qualifications you need to meet to become eligible to retire. General Tier 1 and A members need to be at least 50 years old and have 5 years of service credit and 10 years of eligibility. The only difference for General Tier B members is that they have to be at least 55 years old. For General Tiers C and D, the eligibility requirements change. You must be at least 52 with 5 years of service credit. No more messing with this eligibility stuff. Safety Tiers A and B must reach age 50 with 5 years of service credit and 10 years of eligibility. Safety Tiers C and D need 5 years of service credit at age 50. And no matter which classification or tier you're in, you can retire with any amount of service credit at age 70. Now to the second E, earnings. AKA, how much will your pension be? SDCERA uses a simple calculation to determine your monthly retirement payment. It's age factor times service credit times final average monthly compensation. This formula is the same for everyone. Let's break down each of those elements. Age factor is based on your age at retirement. Each age is assigned a percentage. Just know that the percentage goes up the longer you wait to retire. This chart represents the earliest age factor and maximum age factor for each classification and tier. If you really want to dig into the numbers, you can find a full list of age factors at sdcera.org. Back to our equation here. Service credit we talked about. It's generally the number of years you've worked for your employer. So if you worked for the county from 2011 to 2021, you'll likely have 10 years of service credit. However, you don't earn service credit while you take unpaid leaves of absence. And then final average monthly compensation. Oh, it's a mouthful, so we're going to call it FAC. SDCERA tracks your pay over your entire career with your current employer. So when you're ready to retire, we'll look for the period in which you made the most money. That time period is a year for Tier 1 and A members, and it's 3 years for Tier B, C, and D members. We'll calculate your average monthly pay for that time. That average is your FAC. The easiest way to roughly calculate your FAC is to take your annual salary before taxes and divide it by 12. One of the most common questions we receive is what earnings are included in your FAC? Your base pay is always included, and so are certain types of premium pay, but overtime is not included. If you have specific questions about what's considered in your FAC, contact our Member Service Center. You can also find details on our website under the Active Members tab. One more note on this, state law limits the annual salary on which your pension can be based. Okay, let's dive into an example with SDCERA to see this pension calculation at work. Sarah, who's a Tier B member, is now 57 years old and wants to retire. First question, is she eligible? The answer is yes. Tier B requires her to be at least 55 years old, have 10 years of eligibility, and 5 years of service credit. She's 57, has 12 years of eligibility, and 10 years of service credit. Her age comes with an age factor of 2%. She's worked for 10 years, and her highest average monthly salary is $6,500. So she'll receive $1,276 every month for her pension. You don't actually have to remember this equation. You can use our nifty retirement calculator on our website, sdcera.org. Try it out for yourself. You can also submit a benefit estimate request to SDCERA for a more official estimate of your pension. That form can be found on our website. All right, that was quite the crash course in eligibility and earnings. Again, your biggest takeaway should be that retirement calculator we have on sdcera.org. An important point here, your pension is just one piece of your retirement puzzle. To get a complete picture, you really should add up your pension, Social Security, deferred compensation, and any other savings you might have. When you receive this slide deck, you'll be able to click on the links for Social Security and deferred compensation, and they'll take you to planning resources for each of those income streams, which I hope will help you out. Now, things like reciprocity and service credit purchases can affect your FAC and service credit. So if those apply to you, I do encourage you to sign up for one of our Maximize Your Benefit webinars. Let's now move on to step 2 of our countdown, the documents. I bring this up here because it might take you longer than you expect to get some of these things in order. So here are the documents you need to submit with your retirement application. First is a proof of age document like a California driver's license, birth certificate, or passport. Second, if you're married, you do need to give us a copy of your official marriage certificate. That marriage certificate has to be certified by a recorder's office, not just a church document. And then if you're married, we'll also need your spouse's license, passport, or birth certificate. Don't send us the original copies. We do accept photocopies, just so you know. All right, let's break things up with another poll. Let me ask you a second question. When are you planning to retire? In the next 2 months? In the next 6 months? In the next year? In the next 5 years? Who knows? This gives us an idea of how many retirement applications to expect in the next few months. I know a lot of people try to retire by April, and I'll explain why. Give everyone a few more seconds to answer the poll that should have popped up on your screen. All right, I'll end it right there and share out the results. It looks like a couple are looking forward to retirement in the next 6 months, in the next 2 months for a couple of you. So congratulations on that. It looks majority though are looking in the next 5 years. So you're doing some pre-planning. We like that. Never too early to start planning. Thanks for participating. Now we're ready for the final step of our countdown, which is the big one. It's the retirement application. Yes, you do actually have to apply to SDCERA to retire. Your HR department won't let us know that you're planning to retire. So to request an application, we ask that you submit a retirement application request form, which can be found on our website. You can also call our member service center and we'll email you a copy of the form. We ask you to send in a request because we'll send you back the full retirement application. And on that document, we pre-fill in a lot of the financial numbers based on the estimated retirement date. So I'll take you through all 6 sections of the retirement application step by step right now. Section 1 is your standard demographic information. The most important part of this section is the retirement date. Go ahead, select the best date that works for you, but I do have a couple of things you might want to consider. You do need to submit the application to us before the retirement date that you choose. Otherwise, we'll count the day we get the retirement application as your retirement date. So you might have heard the term COLA floating around. It's something that a lot of people consider when they decide when to retire. So here's a video to explain what COLA is and how it could affect your retirement date. COLA is a big deal for SDCERA retirees. The acronym stands for Cost of Living Adjustment. It's important for all SDCERA members to understand how COLA, COLA Bank, and the Consumer Price Index affect your pension payments. Each year, the SDCERA Board of Retirement sets the COLA based on the Consumer Price Index, aka the CPI. Tier 1 and A members are eligible for up to a 3% COLA each year, while Tier B, C, and D members can get a maximum of 2%. Every April 1st, all eligible members and beneficiaries will see a COLA adjustment in their monthly payment. SDCERA members who retire before April 1st will also receive that year's COLA. That's why many people choose to retire in March, leading up to that April 1st cutoff. If you retire after March 31st, you'll be eligible to receive the COLA in future years. COLA can increase your payments depending on how the Consumer Price Index fluctuated the year before. So to even out the fluctuations, we have what's called the COLA Bank.
Here's how it works. Say you're in Tier A and the consumer price index for a given year is 4%. Well, the maximum COLA you can receive is 3%. So the extra 1% would go into your COLA bank. Then the following year, say the CPI is 2%. SDCERA will use that 1% you have in your bank to give you the maximum 3% COLA. Unfortunately, it works that way with negative consumer price indexes too. A negative CPI will reduce your COLA bank, but it will not reduce your SDCERA monthly payment. For more information, visit sdcera.org or contact our Member Service Center.
So just to reiterate there, you will receive the COLA if you retire by March 31st in any given year. So obviously we're past March 31st for this year, so you won't receive the 2022 COLA, but you will get a 2023 COLA if you retire by March 31st of next year. Now, the timing of your payments is another big part of choosing your retirement date. We don't want a big gap between your last county payout and your first SDCERA check. Just so you know, we do send retirees money on the last business day of each month. And you can expect to see your first SDCERA check no later than the month following your retirement date, but we can't guarantee it any earlier. That's because there's a lag in the time it takes to receive your payroll information from the county. So we're often not able to process a retirement by the end of the month. So if you retire in December, you'll see your first SDCERA check in January. We recommend retiring on the last day of a pay period, but it's by no means required. For example, your last workday could be December 1st and your retirement date would be December 2nd. You should also consider retiring at the beginning or end of a month, just again to lessen that pay gap. All right, with all that in mind, I hope you found a retirement date that works for you. Back to our retirement application here. Section 2 is all about the benefit option. I have one last video to show you that goes into the 5 types of benefit options that you must choose from. You'll also get a little break from hearing my voice. There's a lot of information here, so if you want to review the video again, you can find it on our website, and I'll also send it out in the PowerPoint after the seminar.
When you retire, you'll select one of 5 retirement benefit options and indicate your choice on your retirement application. The primary differences between the benefit options are who you may choose as your beneficiary and what type of benefit will be paid upon your death. You'll want to explore each of these options carefully because once you've made your selection and retire, you won't be able to change it. Now, this tutorial is designed to help you understand each of these benefit options, as well as give you more information when considering the temporary supplement to the benefit options. The unmodified benefit option is the most popular, as it provides you with the highest monthly benefit for your lifetime. You can see what your monthly benefit would be in column A on your application. Upon your death, an eligible beneficiary, who must be a spouse or registered domestic partner, or if none, a minor child, receives a 60% survivor's continuance. In order for your spouse or registered domestic partner to be eligible to receive a survivor's continuance, you must be married or registered for at least 1 year prior to your retirement date. If you don't meet that requirement, or if you are married or registered after you retire, you must be married or registered for at least 2 years prior to your death, and your spouse or partner must be at least 55 years old on the date of your death. This spouse or partner would receive the survivor's continuance for life. If you don't have an eligible spouse or partner at the time of your death, the survivor's continuance will be paid to your eligible minor child or children, if any. If they are unmarried, they are eligible to receive the continuance until they reach the age of 18 or age 22 if they're enrolled as a full-time student at an accredited school. If you do not have an eligible spouse, partner, or children, a survivor's continuance won't be paid with the unmodified option. However, if there is money left in your member contribution account, it'll be paid as a one-time lump sum payment to your designated beneficiary or trust or your estate. Next is option 1, the cash refund annuity. which offers a slightly reduced monthly benefit for your lifetime. Upon your death, your eligible beneficiary receives a one-time lump sum payment of the money left in your contribution account. With this option, you're able to change your beneficiary once you have retired. The amount deducted monthly from your SDCERA account is less than under other benefit options. This amount is noted in the paragraph explaining this benefit on your retirement application. Option 2 is the 100% joint and survivor option. This option provides a reduced monthly benefit for your lifetime, and upon your death, your eligible beneficiary receives the same benefit amount you were receiving for their life. Your benefit is reduced based on the age difference between you and your beneficiary. The younger your beneficiary, the greater the reduction will be. You cannot change your beneficiary, and if your beneficiary predeceases you, the continuance will go unpaid. Option 3. The 50% joint and survivor benefit works in exactly the same way as Option 2, except the reduction to your monthly benefit is less, and your eligible beneficiary receives only half of what you were receiving for the rest of their life. Option 4, multiple beneficiaries, is generally used as a part of a dissolution of marriage or domestic partnership settlement to provide a continuance for both a current and former spouse or partner. If this applies to you, please contact SDCERA. For options 1, 2, 3, and 4, your beneficiary needs to have insurable interest in your life. That means your beneficiary must be somebody who relies on you for financial or educational support or is related to you by blood or law. If you're eligible to collect a Social Security benefit at age 62 and you retire before the age of 62, you'll need to decide if you want to receive the temporary supplement. The temporary supplement increases your benefit from SDCERA until age 62, when you first become eligible to start receiving a Social Security benefit. Then, at age 62, you would receive a permanently reduced benefit from SDCERA. The expectation is that you will begin receiving your Social Security benefit at age 62, and the two incomes, the reduced SDCERA benefit plus your Social Security benefit, will approximate the income you were receiving from SDCERA prior to age 62. If you choose to delay receiving your Social Security benefit until later, like age 67 for example, your SDCERA benefit will still be reduced at age 62. If you're interested in selecting the temporary supplement, SDCERA recommends you ask Social Security to generate an age 62 benefit estimate based on the age you plan to stop working, and then ask SDCERA to use that estimate when we generate your retirement application. This will help ensure the temporary supplement calculation is as accurate as possible. However, if your actual Social Security benefit is different than the estimate, SDCERA does not recalculate or adjust your SDCERA benefit to account for the change. Members who are granted a disability retirement are not eligible for the temporary supplement. If you select the temporary supplement, your eligible beneficiary will not be affected. A survivor's continuance will be based on the basic amount listed in column A on your application. If you have questions along the way, feel free to contact SDCERA's highly trained and knowledgeable call center at 619-515-6800.
All right, I just want to reiterate from that you cannot change your benefit option after you retire. So it's a very important decision. Talk it over with your beneficiaries and decide what's best for your family. Speaking of beneficiaries, that's what Section 3 of the application is all about. We do need to know what to do with your money when you're no longer with us. SDCERA will send a one-time $3,500 payment that'll be split among your primary beneficiaries. And if you have a spouse or domestic partner, they may also receive your pension payments after you die, depending on which benefit option you chose. So you can designate both primary and contingent beneficiaries. A contingent beneficiary would receive your benefits if your primary beneficiary dies before you do. Just make sure that if you have more than one, all percentages for primary beneficiaries add up to 100% and all contingent percentages add up to 100%. If you have a trust that you'd like to leave money to, there's also a spot to fill out that information. On to section 4 of the retirement application, the tax election. SDCERA is required to withhold federal and state taxes, but we can only deduct California state taxes. So if you move out of state and you notify us, we'll stop withholding those. Section 5 of the application lets us know where to send your money. Very important. Fill out your direct deposit authorization and you'll automatically see that check in your account the last business day of each month. Now, it is very important to let us know if you change banks. Obviously, we don't want to send your money to the wrong account. If there's a second person on your account, make sure to fill out their application or their information on the application as well. All right, section 6, last but not least, the signatures. You need to sign the application, and if you're married, legally separated, or in a domestic partnership, your spouse or your partner also has to sign it. And with that, you will be done with the application. Woo! Now all that's left is to package that application up with all those documents we talked about earlier. So I know it's a lot. So we do send you this checklist at the end of your application to make sure you have everything you need. So you have the retirement application, your proof of age document, your spouse's proof of age document if it applies to you, and your marriage certificate. Send it all back to SDCERA by email or snail mail or fax it, or you can drop it off at our office the old-fashioned way. I do want to touch on an important rule about when to turn in your packet. SDCERA cannot accept your retirement application more than 60 days before your retirement date. It's a weird part of the retirement law. So if you want to retire by March 31st, we cannot receive your application before January 30th. Just so you know. If you bear with me a few more minutes, I'd like to hit 5 more quick points before we open it up to Q&A, and they all have to do with your post-retirement life. So first, let's chat about healthcare, since it's really a big expense once you've stopped working. You should definitely shop around to see what's going to meet your needs for the best price. I've listed some options here on the screen. They include Medicare if you're over 65, and some might be eligible for Medicare before you hit 65. The Covered California Healthcare Exchange for those who aren't eligible for Medicare. COBRA, which you can use up to 18 months after you've stopped working. And then if you still live in California under CalCOBRA, you can get an additional 18 months. And then the Retired Employees of San Diego County, or RESDEC, has partnered with a health insurance advisor to provide free Medicare insurance counseling. RESDEC also offers dental and vision plans, and I'll talk about them coming up here in a little bit. So again, take a look at what's on the market, and you can always switch during open enrollment or if you have a qualifying life event. Now, power of attorney, I do recommend that you submit a power of attorney form to SDCERA in case you become incapacitated and you need someone to make decisions on your behalf. We have an SDCERA specific form on our website. You should really consider this before you retire even, because if you become incapacitated before you retire, your power of attorney can file for retirement on your behalf. And this can make a world of difference to your beneficiary. Maybe you haven't had enough of work. You get to retirement and you realize you're a little bored. You can work anywhere else in the world and it won't impact your SDCERA benefits. But if you come back to work with an SDCERA employer like the county or superior court, you have to wait 180 days before you return to work. And then you can work in a temporary position up to 960 hours a year with no impact to your SDCERA benefit. That's about 18 hours a week. However, if you come back in a permanent full-time position with SDCERA or with an SDCERA employer, we'll suspend your pension payments and you'll earn service for a second period of membership. And then when you leave, we'll reinstate your pension from your first period of membership, and you may be eligible for another pension from that second period. Let me quickly address sick leave conversion because we do tend to get a lot of questions about this. Some bargaining units are eligible to turn sick leave into service credit. So say you have 650 hours of sick leave. If you're eligible, we divide that by your authorized hours, which is 2,080 if you have a 40-hour work week. that total in this case would be 0.3. So we'd add 0.3 to the total service credit that you have with us. Please talk with your human resources officer if you have any more questions about this, because they'll really know the specifics of your unit. All right. As I mentioned before, RESDEC is the retired employees of San Diego County. And right now I am happy to bring in a special guest from RESDEC. Chris Heiserman is the president of RESDEC, and he's going to tell us more about the organization. So welcome, Chris. Thanks for being with us.
I guess I'm on. So thank you, Andy. Appreciate
You
the
are
opportunity.
on.
Appreciate the time and chance to talk about RESDEC for a few minutes with these people. I want to, first of all, congratulate those that are actually near retirement. Once you make all these decisions that you have to make and do your paperwork, I think you'll really find that you'll enjoy your retirement.
You can speak from personal experience, right?
I can. I've been retired since 2010. So
It's awesome. Can't wait.
So RESDEC was founded in 1961. It's a membership association that advocates for retiree interests and is basically a watchdog for retiree benefits. We provide information and social activities for our members and other services.
Okay. So if I'm retiring, why should I join RESDEC?
Well, RESDEC has approximately 6,700 members, which is almost 40% of county retirees, but we represent all county retirees. We monitor activities of the Retirement Association, the Board of Supervisors. We keep track of relevant legislation, and we basically look out for threats to public retiree benefits. Our flagship communication tool is our monthly newsletter called The Network, and in that we put articles of interest to retirees on topics of interest. We also announce our events, our social educational events, and social and educational events. So we have quite a few of those. We also have enhanced our services through technology. We have we do webinars through Zoom, and we also have our own YouTube channel where we can place recorded events so people can go back and watch it if they haven't been able to attend our informational webinars or anything like that. They can go to our YouTube channel and watch those things. We also provide, as you mentioned, we also provide dental and vision insurance, as well as travel and pet insurance and other discounted services for our members. We also are kind of proud of the fact that we award several $2,000 scholarships every year to graduating high seniors that are related to our members. Over the past 24 years, we've actually awarded more than $210,000 in scholarships.
Wow, that's quite a big number. That's awesome. What you mentioned social gatherings. What kind of social events do you put on?
We have quite a few kind of typical annual events. We've done some Zoom things and because of the pandemic and all that, but our typical popular events include our annual health fair picnic and free barbecue, in which we just had recently in the October timeframe because of the open enrollment. We have a holiday luncheon that we do in December. We have a Flag Day luncheon that we do in either June or July. And then we also have special events like Day at the Padres, Night at the Theater. And on a quarterly basis, we try to do RESDEC roundups, we call them, which are basically happy hour kind of get-togethers that we move around the county so people can conveniently attend them and meet with other retirees.
Oh, sounds fun. So tell me what the cost of being a member is.
Our membership is really affordable. It's like $5 a month, basically, and that can be set up to be deducted from your retirement benefit by SDCERA.
All right, great. Anything else you'd like to add?
Basically, just let me say that, we look forward, hopefully, to, some of the people I know, I saw the survey, aren't going to be retiring for a few years, but once you do, please consider joining us. And I look forward to seeing some of y'all at our future events. Great.
Thanks so much for joining us, Chris.
Okay, thank you. I enjoy it. Again, it's been a while since I saw it, but I enjoy getting the refresher course.
You're like, oh, now I remember what I had to go through to retire.
Okay,
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground today. So we went over the money with eligibility and earnings, the documents you need to include, and the application with COLA and your 5 benefit options. And with all of that, you'll be retired. So exciting. Like Chris said, can't wait. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, all this information and much more can be found on our website, sdcera.org. I'll be sharing a copy of the presentation with video links as a follow-up. And if you have questions that are specific to your case, I do encourage you to contact our member service center. Their contact information is on the screen right now. I will open it up to Q&A. So if you have some questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A function. So I will take a look and see the first one. Can I retire from the county at age 66 and 3 months? Can I wait to apply for Social Security until I am 66 and 4 months, my max retirement age? Yes. So your retirement from San Diego County has nothing to do with your when you want to take your Social Security. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. What does 0.3 mean in terms of months? So it's about 4 months, a third of the year. You know, one in terms of service credit is a year. So hopefully that helps. Oh, wait, so I said that wrong. Yes. 4 months. Yeah. Why do we, sorry, I had to do the math in my head really fast, make sure I did it right. How do we find our dates for service and eligibility? So if you go onto our website, SDCERA.org, if you take a look at the eligibility, you'll just have to know how long you worked for the county and you can kind of work backwards from there. Soon we will be opening up our member portal to active members and you'll be able to check out your service credit there. Not quite there yet, but hopefully you know how long you've worked for the county. And then again, your eligibility is the time that has passed between when you first started working for the county and now, regardless of if you kept working for the county the whole time. Do I have to have health insurance when I retire or can I opt out? That is totally up to you. We have no control. We don't, you know, we don't do health insurance. It's all up to you. I see 4 possible date boxes in the retirement benefit estimate form. I like that someone's pulling it up, ready to submit that form. Does that mean I can request up to 4 possible calculations using one form? That is correct. Feel free if you want a couple of different estimates, up to 4, you know, based on a few different scenarios, feel free to put in different retirement estimate dates. You mentioned about getting Medicare before turning 65. How do you qualify? I believe that's if you have, if you're on disability, that is when you would qualify for Medicare. There might be a couple of other scenarios. I'm not the Medicare expert, unfortunately, so might want to look that up on Medicare.gov. Can I have 2 banks for my direct deposit? No, right now we just do one deposit, and then you can, you know, use a transfer out on a single bank account if you want to transfer from there. But you have to have your direct deposit. We don't split direct deposits just into one bank account. If I retire after March, do I get the COLA April of the following year? So if you retire after March 2023, you won't get the 2023 COLA, but you would be eligible for the 2024 COLA. You have to retire by April 1st, before April 1st. So we always see a huge spike in retirements leading up to April 1st. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for joining me. Appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday and good luck with those retirement applications. Let us know if you need any other help. I just saw a couple other, one more question. Are you able to give me the number for Medicare? If you go ahead and give our member service center a call, they'll be able to give you that information. All right. Thanks so much. Have a good one.